In domain 6, we will look at Azure service level agreements and service life cycles. Identify the factors that affects the cost. Just like your on-premise equipment cost, there are several elements that will affect your monthly cost when using Azure services. Let's look at a few of our primary factors including resource types, services, locations, ingress and egress traffic. The first factor that affects the cost is resource types. Each meter tracks a particular kind of usage. For example, a meter might track bandwidth usage, either ingress or egress network traffic in bits per second, the number of operations, size, storage capacity in bytes, or similar items. The usage that meter tracks correlates to a number of billable units. Those are charged to your account for each billing period. And the rate per billable unit depends on the resource type you are using. Next is the services that affects the cost. Azure team develops the offers first party products and services, while products and services form third party vendors that are available in Azure Marketplace. Different billing structures apply to each of these categories. Next one is resource usage meters. When you provision a resource, Azure creates a meters and it tracks the usage of the resources. Azure uses these meters to generate a usage record that's later used to help calculate your bill. Think of usage meters similar to how you use electricity or water in your home. You might pay a base price each month for electricity or water service, but your final bill is based on total amount of what you have consumed. Each meter tracks a specific type of usage. For example, a meter might track bandwidth usage, ingress or egress network traffic in bits per second, number of operations, or size or storage capacity in bytes. The usage that meter tracks correlates to quantity of billable units. Those units are charged to your account for each billing period. The rate bill per billable unit depends on the resource type you are using. Next is locations. For example, you might want to build your Azure solutions by provisioning your resources in locations that offers the lowest price, but this would require transferring data service location if different resources and their users are located in different parts of the world. If there are meters tracking the volume of data that moves between the resource you provisions, any potential savings you make from choosing the cheapest locations could be offset by additional cost of transferring data between those resources. Finally, we have ingress and egress traffic. Egress is the world of networking, implies traffic that exists an entity of a network boundary, while ingress is a traffic that enters the boundary of a network. While in service provider types of network, this is pretty clear. In case of data centers or cloud, it is slightly different. In the cloud, egress still means traffic that leaves from inside the private network out of the public internet. But ingress means something slightly different. To be clear, private networks here refers to resources inside the network boundary of a data center or cloud environment, and this IP space is completely under the control of an entity who operates it. Identify the factors that can reduce the cost. Some of the factors that can reduce the cost are reserve instances, reserve capacity, hybrid use benefits, spot pricing. First, we'll start with reserve instances. The reserve instances can reduce your cost considerably by paying upfront cost for your virtual machines for a period of 1 to 3 years. Next is reserve capacity. The reserve capacity helps us to save money with Azure SQL database and SQL managed instances by commitment to a reservation for compute resource compared to a pay-as-you-go pricing. With reserve capacity, you make commitment for SQL databases and SQL managed instances to use for a period of 1 to 3 years to get a significant discount or compute cost. To purchase reserve capacity, you need to specify the Azure regions, deployment type, performance styles, and terms. In reserve capacity, you don't need to assign the reservation to specific databases or manage instances matching the existing deployment that are already running or ones that are newly deployed automatically to get a benefit. By purchasing a reserve instance, you commit for usage for compute cost for a period of 1 to 3 years As soon as you buy a reservations, the compute charges that match reservation attributes are no longer charged at the pay-as-you-go rates. A reservation applies to primary and billable secondary compute replicas, but does not cover software, networking, or storage charges associated with the service. At the end of the reservation terms, the billing benefit expires and the database of managed instances is built at pay-as-you-go price. The reservation do not automatically renew. Next is hybrid use benefits. The Azure hybrid benefit is licensing benefit that helps you to significantly reduce the cost of running your workloads in cloud. It works by letting you use your on-premises software assurance enabled Windows servers and SQL Server licenses on Azure. Finally, we have spot pricing. Azure Spot Price is a cost-saving option to run a virtual machines in Azure. The runs when there is unused capacity on Azure infrastructure for particular regions, but this capacity is no longer available. The VM is deallocated. Azure Pricing Calculator. The Azure Pricing Calculator can help you to get an estimate of expenses based on products you intend on using, as well as where those products will be deployed and so on. You can access Pricing Calculator by browsing the link https Pricing Calculator. When calculating an estimate of your Azure expenses, the first step is to select which products you want to use. Azure products are displayed by default, and you can add any of those products by clicking it. If the product you want is not listed, you can search for a product by entering its name in the search product box. After you add the products you want to use, scroll down to configure the specific details of each service. These services vary depending upon Microsoft charges for the product. Clicking the information icon on the right of the product name displays the menu for quick access to the pricing page for product, additional product details and documentation to help you to make better decision about options you select. Once you configure the product based on your needs, you can add another instances of the product to estimate by clicking the plus button in the upper right portion of the window. To review your pricing estimate, scroll down to the bottom of the page. You can choose a support plan to add your estimate. If you have a Microsoft Online Service Agreement or an Enterprise Agreement or Microsoft Custom Agreement, you can choose it to have it pricing applied to estimate. You can then click Export to save your estimate as an Excel file and then select Save to save the estimate in Pricing Calculator to make a change later. You can also click the Share to create a shareable link to your estimate to show that others can view it. Azure Total Cost of Ownership TCO. The Pricing Calculator is helpful for estimating your expenses for new applications in Azure. But if you have on-premise applications, you want to migrate to Azure and you want to estimate of how much you can save in Azure, the TCO calculator is a better choice. You can access the TCO calculator by browsing to this link. When using the TCO calculator, the first step is to add the details about your on-premise servers, databases, storage, and network usage. You can configure all the details about the server, including the OS, whether it is a VM or a physical server, and more. Databases and storage systems that are on premises should also be added. In addition to any network usage for your applications, after entering all your on-premise workloads, you can view the assumptions in the TCO calculator used by clicking Next. The TCO calculator uses a comprehensive list of on-premise expense assumptions that Microsoft has put together based on years of experience, and these assumptions are used to provide you with the best estimate possible your cost savings. The assumption includes items such as whether you have purchased a software assurance plan for your on-premise servers, details on your current expenses, on-premises details, your IT labor cost, and much more. For an accurate TCO estimate, it is best to carefully record your expenses before generating a TCO report. After you adjust your assumptions, scroll down to bottom of the screen and click Next to view your TCO report. A TCO report includes detailed charts of expenses, savings, and at the bottom of the report you will find the breakdown of on-premise cost and assured cost, so you can easily determine whether you can save money. Just as with the pricing calculator, reports generated by TCO calculator can be downloaded, saved, and copied by clicking the appropriate button. Azure Cost Management. Azure Cost Management is a tool in Azure that makes it easy to analyze your cost at a granular level. Cost management allows you to create a budget for your Azure expenses, set configurable alerts so you will know if you are approaching a budget limit, and analyze your cost in details. To get started with cost management, open Azure portal, search for cost management, and click cost management and billing. To effectively monitor your cost, you should create a budget in cost management. The cost management also allows you to visualize your spending compared to your planned expenses. Azure Service Level Agreement (SLA). SLA establishes specific targets for availability, and they also define what the service providers will do when those targets are met. Many of the services you use today include service level agreement that serves as a contract between you and the service provider for a certain level of service. Microsoft provides SLA in Azure, and they also provide a comprehensive documentation on how the SLA is computed for services. However, not all the services come with an SLA. Microsoft will often make services available in the preview prior to releasing them to production use. These preview services often don't come with an SLA. To provide with some context, as we discuss SLA, a service with SLA of 5 nines guarantees that downtime over an entire year will not exceed 5.56 minutes. A more reasonable SLA of 99.9% guarantees that downtimes over a period of month will not exceed 43.2 minutes. An important concept in cloud service SLA is that the cloud provider considers an application to be used outside of SLA only when the availability percentage is not met because of the issue that the cloud provider can control. In other words, if you deploy a new code to your applications and it causes your application to crash, the cloud provider is not going to consider the breach of SLA. If you still if you install a component on your virtual machines and it causes the machine to go down, that is not within the cloud provider's control and isn't classified or not meeting SLA. Because SLA only refer to problem within the control of cloud providers. When an application suffers from lack of availability, it is important to determine whether the problem is platform issue or issue with your code or configurations. Answering that questions can be more difficult than you might think. Azure is a high complex environment involving large number of services operating together. For example, Azure App Service, one of Azure most popular services, uses Azure Virtual Machines, Azure DNS systems, Azure Storage, Azure SQL databases, and other Azure services under the hood. Performance degradation of any of these services can affect the availability of an application running in the app service. If you report that your app service application is unavailable, Microsoft needs to determine whether it's because of problem on the end or a problem with your applications. Microsoft maintains an enormous amount of diagnostic data on all Azure operations across all Azure services. When you open a support case with Microsoft to report that your application is unavailable, Microsoft can perform data analytics against the data to determine if there was a problem with Azure platform itself. If you believe that your application already has fallen below the SLA, it's your responsibility to submit a claim to Microsoft. You can also do that by opening a support case. If Microsoft determines that the SLA has not been met, you might receive a credit on your Azure's invoice. The amount of credit depends on duration of SLA was not met and specific Azure service SLA policy. Most Azure services offer an SLA at least 99.9%, and high SLA can be achieved with additional configurations by the customer. For example, a single VM using premium storage for all disks has an SLA of 99.9%. If you deploy two or more VMs into a same availability set, that SLA increases to 99.95%. If you deploy those two or more instances across two or more availability zones within the same Azure regions, then the SLA moves to 99.99%. Identify the actions that can impact a SLA. The SLA varies between Azure services, and because specific configuration can affect the SLA of a single Azure service. It is important to be able to determine the specific SLA for the Azure services you are using. The Microsoft provides details on the SLA for every Azure services using this link. If your application uses multiple Azure services and multiple SLAs will be applied to you. If you experience downtime, you must submit a claim for all the Azure services that fell below SLA if you want to be considered for credit. However, monetary credit isn't your only concern related to availability of your applications. Downtime in your applications can affect your business negatively, so you want to always ensure that you have the highest SLA possible. When you are dealing with multiple Azure services with different SLAs, it is important to understand how that affects your overall SLA. When calculating the SLA for application using multiple Azure services, you must calculate a composite SLA based on those services you are using. For example, if you have an app service web app that also uses a single Azure VM using premium storage, you must combine the SLA for both services to determine your application's overall SLA. The SLA for app service is 99.95% and SLA for single VM running premium storage is 99.9%. Therefore, the overall SLA your application is 99.95% into 99.9% or 99.85%. By deploying two VMs into two already zones in the same regions, you can obtain a 99.99% SLA for a VMs, and that increases your overall SLA to 99.94%. Azure Service Lifecycle, Public Preview and General Availability. As Azure products teams develop new services and features, it is important for them to get feedback from customers using those services and features in a real world environment. For that reason, Microsoft will often offer a new services and features to customers as preview offerings. While Microsoft official term is preview, you will often see people refer to these services and features as being as beta offerings. Once the features has reached a certain level of completeness and reliability, it moves to a stage called general availability. This is a point where a service is fully supported and has SLA associated with it. Preview services and features are sometimes first offered as a private preview. In a private preview, the services or features is made available to a small set of customers for testing. Private preview services and features commonly expose only a subset of functionality that will eventually make into a service or feature. Microsoft will often ask customers using private preview to test specific scenarios and provide feedback. This helps engineering team to uncover bugs and usability issues in the complex real-world environments that customers are using. Once the service or feature is a general availability, it falls under SLA Microsoft provides. If it is a new service, new SLA will be published on SLA web page. For new features of existing services, once GA is reached, the feature will inherit the SLA of these services. Access to private preview is sometimes by invitation from engineering team that is developing the service or feature. Private preview service and features commonly expose only a subset of functionality that will eventually make it to a service or feature. Microsoft will often ask customers using a private preview to test specific scenarios and provide feedback. This helps engineering teams to uncover bugs and usability issues in the complex real-world environment that customers are using. Once a service or features meets specific bar set by engineering teams, it will transition to public preview. This usually occurs once a service or feature is fully functional or very close to it. However, if there are bugs in a specific part of functionality that the engineering team feels it is critical, that they may delay public preview until those bugs are fixed. Features and services that are in a public preview are provided at a discounted rate. But like private preview, features and services we typically don't offer SLA and provide as it is. Customers participating in a private preview are sometimes given a secret link to Azure portal that enables service or features. When customer uses that link, Microsoft can use their Azure subscriptions ID to determine if they have registered and are approved for the private preview. If they aren't approved, the features or service won't be available, even if they use the secret link. Once the service or features reaches public preview, it is made available to all customers in regions where it is available, and no registration is required to use the service or features. A preview badge will be displayed in Azure portal so that users will know that a service or feature is a preview offerings. Services and features that are in public preview are usually supported by Microsoft just as though they were fully released. However, SLAs don't apply to previews, and there are some situations where a service or features won't be supported by Microsoft support engineers while in preview. In those cases, you may be referred to as forums as for support. Once the preview service or features reaches a quality and availability bar suitable for engineering teams, they will be declared as general availability or GA. At this point, the service or features are fully supported. Once service or feature reaches general availability, it falls under SLA Microsoft provides. If the new service, new SLA will be, if it's a new service, new SLA will be published on SLA web page. For new features of existing service, once GA is reached, the features will inherit the SLA of the service. If you are using a features or service during public preview, you will usually not have to do anything to be officially supported on the GA. However, in some situation, Microsoft will ask that you delete any resources created during preview and recreate them. This usually happens when remnants left over from preview code might cause problems with the service or features running on general availability. When a service or features is general availabilities, it may not be a general availability in all Azure geographies. In those cases, other geographies will usually use GA laters in the lifecycle of service and features. Premium pricing may also remain in the effect for some period after GA. Details like this are published on the Azure official GA announcement on Azure websites. Thank you for watching my course.